and we are going to get this going. So, hi everybody, thanks again for joining us. My name's Jeff. I'm Vice President for Local Programs at Special Olympics Maryland, and we are excited to have tonight's sports talk with Special Olympics Maryland athlete Julian English. So Julian, do you want to go ahead and say hello?
Hi.
Thanks, Julian. So Julian, what sports do you play with Special Olympics?
I run track, I play tennis, and I play basketball.
That's awesome. And we are also so fortunate to have Gabby Dabrowski from the WTA Tour, one of the best doubles players in the world. So as we get started, Gabby, I think I'll turn it over to you so you can do an introduction to yourself and all the good work that you're doing, how you got started playing tennis and all that good stuff, okay?
Sounds good. Hi, everyone.
Cool.
Ago, and I started playing tennis when I was 7. So I've been playing tennis a really long time, and it's been a pretty wild ride. You know, I started playing a lot of tournaments in my hometown in Ottawa and in Ontario. Then when I started to get better, I started traveling internationally, which was really fun. I was with my dad a lot because he was kind of like my main coach for many, many years. So that's a pretty interesting thing about me, I think. Having your dad as a coach is not the easiest thing in the world, but you know that there's nobody that cares about you more than your parents. So it was a pretty special experience. Yeah, I was a pretty stubborn kid too, so I'm sure it wasn't easy on him either. Yeah, and then when I was in my teenage years, I decided to become a professional tennis player instead of going to college. You know, looking back now, I think it was a good decision, but I definitely love school too. So I think if I had gone and played college tennis, that would have been great as well. And then I've been on the WTA Tour for, I guess, almost 10 years now. And it's just been crazy. Like, I started with a lot of singles and doubles, but then in my early 20s, I started playing a lot of doubles because I just found it more enjoyable. I didn't really have the money to continue with singles, and doubles let me play with some really good partners and all the best tournaments in the world, all the Grand Slams. I made it to the Olympics in 2016 in Rio, which was like the highlight of my life. And and here I am today.
That's great. Thank you, Gabby. So I think we'll start out with some questions from Julian. So Julian, do you have some questions for Gabby?
Yes. How do you choose your doubles partner?
Good question, Julian. Well, it depends. Sometimes for some tennis players, your coach or your national tennis federation will arrange a partnership for you. And, you know, that's kind of tricky because you're not always playing maybe with the person that suits your game style best. But most of the time, we get to choose our own partners, which is wonderful. So I always try to choose somebody that complements the way that I play. And I love to come to the net a lot. And I love to serve and volley, which is kind of rare, but those are my strengths. And so I need a partner that's really good from the baseline to be able to balance me out. So that's kind of how I go about choosing a partner.
What was your first Grand Slam, and how did you feel about your first Grand Slam?
So I won my first Grand Slam in 2017 at Roland Garros in Paris. I played with an Indian fellow named Rohan Bopanna. And I would say I was really proud of myself because obviously it was my best result ever, but also because of the resilience I showed in that tournament. I'd had a heartbreaking loss in the women's doubles, so I was a bit sad, but I had the mixed doubles still, so I kept going and I kept pushing, and I thought Rohan and I worked really well as a team together, and that showed in our tennis, and we had great success. And it was so much fun because actually my parents were there. So it was a really special moment for us and my family.
Nice. What is your favorite, when you travel, where is your favorite place to go?
I love Australia. Ever since I was a little kid, I always wanted to go there. Even before tennis ever came into the picture for me, I always loved the animals. I loved kangaroos and koalas, and I was really afraid of spiders, big spiders, but I wanted to see them anyway. and and so having to get to play there at the Australian Open for a number of years now has been a huge privilege. And I love Melbourne. I think it's one of my favorite cities in the whole world.
Well, if you had to quarantine anywhere, where would you quarantine?
Quarantine.
Anywhere.
You know what? I think when you're with your friends and your family, that's the best thing. It doesn't really matter where in the world you are, but if you're with the people that you want to be with, then that's the most important part. It could be anywhere.
Nice. Do you have a favorite surface to play on?
Yes. I like hard courts, but I like slow hard courts. I like hard courts because I don't like funny bounces, like on clay and grass. I like a true bounce. But I like a slower hard court because I like to have time. I like to have time to set up for my shots and react.
Do you have a pre-match like workout or anything that you do before routine?
Yeah, I have a routine. I like to listen to music, or sometimes if I'm a little nervous, I like to listen to a podcast, like some topic totally off of tennis to kind of get my mind right. I like to warm up before I practice, before my matches. I have a whole routine, some running, some side shuffling, some stretching, some elastic band work. So I do that before every practice and every match.
Have you ever cracked your racket before?
Yes, I have. Yes, but don't tell anyone.
Speaking of racket, Gabby, what racket are you currently using?
So I currently use a Wilson racket, but it's kind of a secret. I might be switching soon.
Ooh.
So don't tell anybody. You guys are the first to know.
All right.
I've been using some other brands that I quite like a lot, and obviously with this break away from the tour, I have a lot of opportunity to test out some new frames.
Sure, great.
Mm-hmm.
And let's do like 2 more questions, and then we'll open it up to other people on the call. Okay?
Sure.
How do you train that tournaments are canceled, and can you give us some advice for like workouts at home that we could do?
Yeah, so my training, I'm in Florida, so I'm quite lucky to be outside in good weather. So I can go running, I can bike, I can swim, I can do all those things, which is nice. But when you don't have those things, there's a lot that you can do at home. And I personally find working out at home a little bit boring. So what I like to do is I like to turn on the TV and like put on my favorite show, and then, get on the floor and maybe do some sit-ups and some core exercises, or maybe some push-ups. I can use my elastic bands as well. Band workouts are great because they're very low impact on the body and you can't really get hurt from them. You can also run in place. You can do jumping jacks. There's a lot that you can do, just within, 1 or 2 yards of yourself. So I think now even online, there are a lot of at-home workouts available that you guys can check out. So I think that's one thing that we're all getting better about is making sure that we are trying to stay in shape, even though we can't play the sports we want to play and get outside as much as we want. So
Great. Julian, do you have one more that you want to ask?
Bag check. What is in your bag?
Oh, bag check.
Oh, my bag. It's too messy. You can't see it. Usually I carry about 4 or 5 rackets with me. I have a pair of shoes. I have all my elastic bands. I'll have extra clothes. I'll have a towel. I'll have water. I'll have extra over grips and string for my rackets. I'll have a lot of hair elastics. I have a lot of hair, so I have a lot of extra hair elastics. Well, I don't have a lot of hair, but my hair is very thick, so I need a lot of hair elastics to hold it up.
Cool. All right, so we had one question get typed in from Elizabeth, and she wanted to know how you felt when the Olympics were canceled for this year.
Yeah, so it was definitely disappointing, but considering the circumstances that are going on in the world, it was, I think, a good call. You know, safety and health are more important than traveling around the world for sport right now. So I think it was the right decision. And all I can say is that I hope to be in a position next year to try to qualify again.
Definitely, definitely. So, you know, so all of the Special Olympics athletes who are on the call tonight also had a lot of events canceled, summer games, some other events. So how advice would you give to athletes who are still trying to, you know, struggle with events getting canceled and staying healthy? And how did you power through that yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that there would be a break away from my sport, and it would be at least a few months, if not longer. So you just have to take that into consideration when planning out your daily activities, because it's really easy to get out of a good routine. And sport helps you to be disciplined, you know, to eat well, to drink enough water, to go to sleep and get enough rest so your body can recover from exercising. So you got to just, you know, keep with the routines as much as you can. You know, you can cut yourself some slack because you have more time, and you know, maybe you can do a few more fun things online and chatting with your friends and stuff than maybe you normally would have time for. But yeah, I try to still go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time, make sure I have enough hours of sleep, make sure that I'm having a really balanced diet. I'm really lucky. I stay with friends, and one loves to cook, so we're eating really good food every week. We have fish and pasta and rice, and he's been inspired and actually making some different cuisines, which has been really fun. And yeah, so just try to keep yourself motivated as best as you can. I know it's hard, but I think athletics teaches us about perseverance and never giving up. So even when times are tough, we have the skills from being an athlete to get through anything. And I think that's something you need to remember at the end of the day.
That's great. Thanks, Gabby. So it looks like Elizabeth has another question.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wanted to ask it. Could I just ask it? I want to ask a couple questions. Number one, were you supposed to go to the Olympics this year?
I would have hopefully gone. We had another maybe 3 months of qualifying, but I was pretty close. So I think there was a good chance that I would have made it. Yeah.
Okay, so you're still competing now?
Well, not right now, because there's a break from all sports. And
No. I meant to say.
Oh.
You're still but you're still compete in tennis now.
Yeah.
Oh, my dad played tennis.
Oh, that's awesome.
Have you ever been to Wimbledon?
To where?
Wimbledon.
Wimbledon.
Oh, Wimbledon. Yes,
Yeah.
I have. Wimbledon.
Have you played?
Yes, I played.
You played there?
Yeah, last year we made the women's doubles final there. We lost, but it was really cool.
Yeah. What about the U.S. Open in New York? And
Yep, I played there too.
Was that amazing? What was it like in Wimbledon? Was it amazing?
Yeah, I mean, you feel like the tradition, because it's one of the oldest tennis tournaments, and it's our oldest Grand Slam, I believe. So you really feel like there's a lot of prestige around, you know, where you're playing, and it's really cool to have to play on grass too. It's something that we don't get to do a lot, so it's a nice change of pace. I really love it there.
Cool.
That's great. All right, so if anybody else has a question, you can feel free to raise your hand. Oh, it looks like Bijan does. So Bijan, I will find you on the list. Okay, Bijan, you are unmuted, so you can go ahead and ask your question.
See, I played tennis with Brian Sazlowski. I got to Seattle, Washington. I got to gold medals. I went to an apartment in Washington, Seattle, Washington. I went to the apartment with Brian Sazlowski. I went back to Washington, Baltimore for Special Olympics.
Yeah.
We went to South Carolina with Brian Sazlowski. I played tennis, singles and doubles.
That's
Oh,
great.
awesome.
And yep, so Bijan and Brian win a lot of gold medals when they go to USA Games. So Gabby, since you're a doubles player, what advice would you give to Bijan and Brian as a doubles team?
Great question. Keep working together. You've obviously had a lot of great success, but sometimes when you play together for a long time, you can get closer as friends, but sometimes that means you feel like you can tell them when you're mad or disappointed. And as a doubles team, it's really important to stay positive with each other because tennis is hard. And some days, you know, one person will be playing better than the other person, but what matters at the end of the day is the way that you can work together to win a match, no matter how your partner's playing. So I would just recommend, you know, be kind to each other because doubles is not easy, but communication is really important.
That's great. Thanks. So June has a great question. June, I'm going to unmute your line so you can ask Gabby your question. June is one of our unified partners here in Maryland. So June, you're unmuted if you want to go ahead and ask.
Hi, Gabby and everybody. I just wanted to ask if you could tell us some things we could do at home with our rackets and balls until we can get back out on the courts.
Sure. Yeah. So, like I said, you know, if you don't want to do it without the TV on, have the TV on, but, you know, hold the racket in your hand, feel the grip, you know, maybe do a couple shadow swings. That always helps, especially with keeping your wrist strong. You can tap the ball, you know, in one place, up and down if you have enough room around you. You know, maybe in my case, I need to put away the porcelain cups that are sitting around just in case. Yeah, and you can bounce the ball on the ground. If you happen to have a garage or a wall that's concrete, you can, you know, try to hit some volleys up against the wall. Not sure what the weather's like in Maryland right now, but if you can get outside and, you know, move around, I think that's a good thing to do. Fresh air, sunshine, that's important for the body and the mind.
That's great. Thanks, Gabby. And I've seen on our Facebook page lots of people out hitting balls up against the brick wall, and so that's been really good.
Awesome.
There. So Scott Weaver, you had a question. I'm going to unmute your line. Scott, you're unmuted. Go ahead.
Oh, hello, Gabby. I was just wondering, who's your favorite tennis player, and maybe growing up and then currently? Is it the same person?
No, it's not actually. So when I was growing up, I had many favorites. I really liked to watch Martina Hingis. I liked to watch Jennifer Capriati. I liked Kim Clijsters. I always wanted to be as athletic as she was and do the splits and stuff like that. But then as I got older, I really started to like Andy Murray. I think in part because he wasn't Roger, Rafa, or Novak, but he was like this underdog to them, but then still so good. And so I liked cheering for the underdog, but I also liked the way that he played tennis. And I would hear him speak in interviews, and then I heard from some people how he is as a person. And so I really appreciated him more when I knew that he was a good person, even more than his tennis success. So, yeah.
That's great. Thanks, Gabby. Wyatt, you had sent me some questions over email, so I'm going to unmute and maybe you can ask one of those, okay?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Wyatt, you are unmuted.
So, like, before your match, what do you do to, like, get mentally prepared? Like in a match when you're down, you try to keep a positive attitude and not, like, get down if you make an error or anything?
Yeah, it's hard to maintain a positive attitude all the time in tennis. I think it's because, you know, even when you win, you make a lot of mistakes to get to that finish line. So sometimes it's hard to stay positive. And on the days when I'm really struggling with myself, I'll just try to be my best friend. And I've gotten better at doing that over the years. And I say to myself, okay, you're not having the best day right now, but you can choose your attitude and you can choose the way you react to what's happening. So if I'm missing, if I'm missing my backhand and it's my favorite shot, and for some reason that day it's not working, I say, it's okay, Gabby. It'll come. Keep trying. Keep working. And then usually, eventually, when I have that mindset, it does come. On the days, if I'm really down on myself, it usually doesn't come because I haven't had the attitude to allow it to happen. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thanks.
Great.
No worries.
Did you want to ask any of the other ones? You sent me 3.
You
remember
what's one of your favorite drills that you like to do?
Ooh, drills. Well, I love being at the net, so I love to practice my volleys. Any kind of volley drill, I'm all about. And overheads. I love hitting overheads as well. So one really tough drill is when you hit a volley and then you have to run back for an overhead and then hit another volley. It's really hard on the cardio. It's hard on the lungs, but it's really good for you. And for me in doubles, it's a really important one that I have to do pretty often.
Cool.
That's great. David, you raised your hand. So let me find you in the list and unmute your line. It's such a long list of people. Here you are. Okay, David, you're unmuted.
Hello, it's very nice to meet you today. My question will be, did you have a chance to play with the Serena Williams sisters?
Never. I wish I did. Not yet.
Okay, because if you happen to have a dream for next season, if that dream comes true for next year, how would that make you feel to have the opportunity to play with the Serena Williams sisters?
Well, I think since they're some of the best tennis players who have ever lived, it would just be such an honor to play against them and hopefully compete really hard, and may the best players win that day.
It's all about teamwork, correct?
Yes.
Thank you so much. It was
No problem.
excellent to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah. So David, that was a great starting question too. So Gabby, do you have any goals for the upcoming season or for the years ahead?
Yes, I would love to win a women's doubles Grand Slam. I haven't done that yet. I've won 2 in mixed doubles, but none in women's doubles. Came close at Wimbledon last year in the finals. And also I want to qualify for the Olympics. That's also a big goal of mine. Other than that, though, probably just enjoy the next few years that I have on tour and make the most of them.
That's great. Does anybody else want to type in a question or have a question for Gabby before I ask all the questions? Julian, did you have Justin from North Carolina, our friend from Experience. That's awesome. So Justin, you're unmuted, so go ahead.
Yes, this year I got to hit in the Pro-Am at the Winston-Salem Open in doubles. I really love doubles. And I played with the French Open champion. I was wondering if you have any tips for me in doubles to help with my shots or anything.
Well, what are your strengths? Do you like forehands or backhands?
I have a 2-handed forehand and a 2-handed backhand.
Okay, so probably pretty even there. That's good. Do you like to volley and come to the net?
No.
Okay, so I recommend that you find a doubles partner that is really good at the net because your strengths are at the baseline. So you can hit a good ground stroke and set them up at the net to try to put a volley away.
And also this year I got to play at the U.S. Open because Abilities Tennis got to go on Arthur Ashe, and we got to do some short court before the Djokovic match.
Oh, that's so awesome. Isn't it cool on Arthur Ashe Stadium?
Yes.
It's so big, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
It was nerve-wracking.
Yes, I was nerve-wracking for me too when I played there a couple years ago.
So Gabby, how do you deal with those nerves when you're stepping out, whether it's a big court or a big match? How do you deal with nervousness before a match?
Yeah, I try so it depends. Some days I'm more nervous than other days. You know, when I'm feeling good, I kind of just go with the flow. I'm listening to my music, I'm warming up, and I'm good. So on the days when I'm, feeling like I'm short of breath, or I'm sweating, or I'm shaking, then I really have to take the time to find my breath, because when you're nervous, you start to breathe faster like that, and then your body tightens up, and then you can't play well because you're not relaxed. So I try really hard to focus on my breathing. I take really big breaths in and take really big breaths out. And then usually after doing that a few times, I feel better.
That's great. Thanks. So I think Elizabeth has another question. So Elizabeth, I'm going to unmute your line.
But actually, it was for Jim.
Oh, it was for Jim. I think Jim, our CEO, I think Jim had to leave. So if you want to email me, we'll make sure that your question from Jim gets answered. But thanks for.
Well, maybe you can answer it.
All right, let's get some questions for Gabby first, and then maybe I'll answer some Special Olympics Maryland questions. All right. Julian, do you have any other questions on your list? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
One more. I don't know. I have one that came to my head.
Yep.
Do you like grass or clay better?
I think grass, because I like to slice and I like to drop shot. And so when the grass is playing like real grass should, the slices stay really low and the drop shots don't bounce high. So it's really hard for the opponent to, get under the ball and hit it up over the net or run forward. So yeah, I'd say grass.
Great. Nancy Hoekstra had a question. Do you have any tips for our athletes about keeping their focus on the court and keeping focus on the ball and the points ahead?
Yeah, great question. When you feel yourself losing focus, I think the most important thing you can do is practice noticing that you're losing focus. So you say, okay, I'm losing focus, but I can bring it back because I notice that it's happening now. One of the things that I like to do is practice mindfulness and meditation, every week, and if I can, every day. And I find that really helps me concentrate for longer periods of time without getting distracted. So, it's never a bad thing when you lose your concentration. It's natural. It happens to everybody. Even Federer, you'll notice sometimes he'll make a weird mistake and you're like, oh, he probably lost his focus on that point. So even the people that seem not human are human. So don't feel bad about losing your concentration. Just, again, be your best friend and say, okay, I lost my focus, but I'm coming back now. And what do I have to do next? What is my next step? And usually that's, like you said, watching the ball, focusing on the ball, because nothing else matters. People watching don't matter. Who your opponent is doesn't matter. The ball and you, and that's all that matters.
That's great. Thanks. Monica Evans has a question. So Monica, I'm going to unmute your line. Monica, you're unmuted if you want to ask your question.
My question is, what position do you play in your tennis match, and who is your partner?
So this year I've been playing with Yelena Ostapenko, who won the French Open a few years ago, which has been really fun. And I've been playing on the deuce side this year, so I'm hitting more forehands. But usually my favorite side to play is the ad side and hitting more backhands because my backhand is my better shot.
Great. Gabby, if you're in a big point, what shot, hopefully no WTA scouts are out here and other players find out all your secret information, but in a big point, what shot are you hoping to be able to hit, or what shot are you trying to set up for yourself?
The backhand or the volleys. Usually, when I'm really playing my best tennis, I'm hitting an aggressive shot. Usually my backhand is better quality than my forehand. I'm working on it though. And then I try to come forward. So I try to make it inside the service line as quickly as I can so that, you know, the next ball coming at me doesn't go too low to my feet. And since I love being at the net, that's the place that I like to put pressure on my opponents with my positioning. But yeah, the backhand is probably still like one of my favorites.
That's great.
Yeah.
Kara, I see that you have a question and you're unmuted, so go ahead. Great to see you, Kara. Oh, I don't. Go ahead, Kara. Is your sound on?
Oh, there it goes.
There you go.
Hi, Gabby.
Hi.
I have a question. I have like 2 questions for you, if that's okay.
Sure.
Do you think they will have the US Open this year?
Good question. I don't know the answer, unfortunately. We are really hoping, our fingers are crossed, but yeah, so far with everything going on in the world, it's not looking too promising, but who knows, maybe a miracle will happen.
And do you have a 2-hander backhand?
Yes, I do. 2 hands.
Okay. And I played in Virginia with all the people that I'm with on the meet, Joey and Justin and 2 of the Justins.
Yeah.
And I would like some advice about singles, like, because this year when I went to Virginia, I did not do so well.
What do you do when you lose the first
What do you do when you lose the first set?
Ooh.
Good question. Well, the best thing to do is to put it behind you. You don't dwell on it, because if you dwell on it, then you'll end up losing a few games just because you are thinking about the fact that you lost the first set. So the best thing to do at any point in a match when you're down is to reset and say, okay, I lost that, but what can I do now? What can I improve? What can I improve upon? You know, what did that first set teach me? Maybe I learned a little bit about my opponent. Maybe my opponent showed me some of their strengths and some of their weaknesses. So going into the second set, I can see where I need to hit the ball, what types of shot, you know, slice or top spin, seeing what, you know, what they struggle with. So it's best to, you know, reset as best as you can, put the past in the past, but learn from it, because even though you lose the first set, sometimes you learn something about your opponent that will help you win the match.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gabby.
Good luck.
No worries.
And I get kind of mad, like when I played singles in like my first match against whoever, I got mad at myself, but I didn't know what to do, because like, should I face the fence and like wait for like 2 minutes to like breathe in and stuff like that? Is that right? Or
Yeah, that's a really good thing to do, actually, is to turn your back to the court, to the back fence. So you're not looking at your opponent or anything else going on the other side of the court, and you reset mentally. So you can breathe in and out. You probably won't have 2 minutes. Maybe you'll have, you know, 30 seconds that you can use, which is plenty of time. And yeah, don't be too hard on yourself, because like I was saying earlier, tennis is really hard, and it's really hard for everyone. And the people that do the best are the ones that have the best attitude. So if you can, try to be kind to yourself, and yeah, just try to be your best friend out there, because it will really help you in those moments when you're struggling.
okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Good
Gabby,
luck.
and good luck
No
this year
problem.
at the
tournament.
Thank
tournament.
you.
Cool.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Carol, we'll see it at UVA hopefully this year, right? In 2020.
Yeah, I'm hoping, because I already got the 2020 experience.
Perfect. You wore the shirt. That's great. We had another question from Wes, who wants to know, do you have a favorite book that you'd recommend that helped you with your mental game?
Great question. Man, I definitely read a lot of good ones a long time ago, but one that I turn to now, it's called Thinking Body, Dancing Mind, and it's about incorporating the Tao in sports. And the Tao teaches you how to be present, how to deal with failure, how to combat fear, how to handle success, because that's something not everybody talks about too, is how you handle success. So I found that book, really helpful. Every chapter is about something different. If you're fatigued and you're tired, what can you do? What are some of the mantras that you can tell yourself to help in that situation? It teaches you resiliency and perseverance. And so I really like that one because I don't need to read through the whole book to get something out of it. I can just turn to a certain chapter based on what I'm feeling and then read that chapter. And then usually I'll feel better and I'll know what to do, as my next step.
Cool. Thanks, Gabby. So does anybody else, Gabby, I don't want to take too much of your evening, but I
good.
Certainly appreciate it. Looks like Liz has another question. Liz, I hope this is a question for Gabby. So we will go ahead and if I can find you on the list. There you go. Okay, Liz, you are unmuted if you want to ask your question.
Hi, Gabby.
Hi.
My name is Liz.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Have you ever won any medals?
I did. I won a doubles gold medal at the Pan Am Games in 2015.
That's awesome. Can you show
it
it to us?
So fun.
Can
Oh,
you
I don't have it. I don't have it. It's at home, and I'm not home right now. Sorry. Next time, I'll be sure to bring it.
Oh, are you in a training place somewhere?
Yes, exactly. I'm in Florida, and that's where I train.
Oh, so you're training right now. Okay.
Yeah, I train almost every day.
Cool.
Cool. Good questions, Liz. All right. Any other questions from anybody? Oh, Julian, go ahead.
I have another question. What do you do for fun, when you're not playing tennis?
Oh, well, I love to read. I love to watch TV. I love to listen to music. Within the past 2 years, I've discovered podcasts, which have been really cool. I like listening to true crime, when somebody's maybe gone to jail, but they were actually innocent and how they get them out of jail. I think those stories are incredible. And when I was younger, I used to write a lot of poetry. So that was another hobby that I had that was very therapeutic. If I was struggling with something, I could write it down and try to make the words rhyme. And but poetry, you don't have to rhyme. I just like to rhyme them. Yeah.
That's great. Any other ones? What would you say? So a lot of our athletes, it's great because they're always trying to get better at tennis and improve their game. And if they're in one level, maybe playing short court, trying to move up to full court. What advice would you give to an athlete who's looking to improve their game of tennis?
Well, I think starting small for anybody is good. I mean, tennis is not easy. There's a big court and it can be overwhelming when you're just starting out, especially, if it's the first time that you're playing a sport with a racket. It's not like you're just using your hands. You have something attached to your hand. And so to try to coordinate that can be challenging. So I definitely agree with starting short court, starting with the foam balls. It can help you get a better feel for tennis. And, then you'll feel like you want to keep playing tennis because you've gotten better at it faster. So yeah, I definitely think that's a good way to start somebody out. And just remember to be patient with yourself, because I think tennis is a lifelong sport. You have many years to learn it if you need to. It's not, something you play for a few years and you put the rackets away. It's something you'll play till, you're older. So it's just be patient.
Definitely. And I think, So you didn't have your medal, but I think Bijan wanted to show off one of his. So Bijan,
Oh, sure.
tell Gabby about your medal.
I got 2 gold medals.
Oh, awesome. That's amazing.
And that was, yeah, and Bijan, that was for singles and doubles, right?
Singles and doubles.
Cool. And where did you get
Excellent.
those medals?
I got 1 singles and 1 double.
Yep. And where did you get those? What tournament did you win those gold medals in?
Seattle, Washington.
In Seattle,
Oh,
Washington?
great.
That's right.
Oh,
That's great. Was that a great tournament to play in?
yes, so it is.
Yeah, that's good. Nancy Hoekster's on the line, so she wanted to make sure it was a good one.
Gabby.
Fair umpire, Bijan. No, I'm kidding. Any protests? All right. Does anybody else have any questions before we say thank you and good night to Gabby? Oh, I saw one hand up. Kara's up again. Kara, let me unmute your line. I think. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Okay. Gabby, how long do you work out before your matches? Or before?
So,
Were you saying, are you in the gym?
Are
more
you
than
in
you're on
the
tennis
gym more than on the court
practicing?
Practicing?
not usually at tournaments. Usually I spend more time on the court. Before, if it's a match day, I have a match, let's say at 12 o'clock, then I will get to the tennis venue, probably around 9 or 10 a.m. And then I will do like a physical warm up, which will be in the gym for maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then I will go do my tennis warm up for 30 minutes. And then I'll eat. And then I'll play my match. So my preparation is kind of like a physical warm up, getting my body warm and ready and sweating. And then I'll go do like a 30-minute light session on the court to get a feel for the ball that day. And then I'll have about an hour and a half or 2 hours or so. And then I'll play my match.
How did you feel about meeting Nadal and Andy Murray and all of them that were in the US Open, I think?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of met them at different times. I actually met Andy Murray for the first time at a restaurant in Acapulco, not even at a tennis tournament. So it was kind of cool. It was somebody's birthday in his team. I think maybe his fitness trainer or somebody like that, or his coach. So they were celebrating. And he was very down to earth, very humble. We took a photo together. So that was really cool. Rafa, I don't think he would remember meeting me because I met him when I was 14. And there was this tennis tournament in France that I was playing. It was an international junior tennis tournament. And so Rafa, and I don't know if you know Fabrice Santoro, they came to hit with us. So, Rafa was still quite young at the time. I'm not sure how old he was, for sure less than 20 or maybe 20 or so. And so he hit with us as juniors. So I technically met him then, but I don't know if he would remember that. And then Roger, I took a photo with a few years ago at Wimbledon. But again, not really officially really meeting them, being like, "Hi, Roger, I'm Gabby. Nice to meet you." It was more, "Can I have a photo with you, please?"
I really want to meet you so bad, Gabby.
I hope we get the chance to. I'm sure we will.
And maybe you could come to our tournament or you could be able to come to our tournament sometime next year.
Yeah, I hope so. That would be wonderful. I would love to meet you guys.
That would be really cool. So someone wants to know what your favorite pre-match meal is.
Well, it used to be pasta, but now I really like rice, or like rice with veggies and maybe a protein, maybe like some salmon. That's usually what I do now. I find rice sits better in my stomach before a match than pasta.
That's great. I hope everybody else eats healthy like that before their matches. And so we got a comment.
No hamburgers.
Yeah, right. I think I've seen Julian pound a Snickers bar before a match, so I think. And we have a comment from Dee Henry who said that she loved your advice, be your best friend during your match, that was great and really resonated with Dee. So Gabby, to close out, I just turn it over to you. Anything that you want to say, any final words of wisdom for our Special Olympics athletes who are on the call tonight?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you guys for coming to this Zoom chat and listening to me and interacting and asking all your questions. It's such a privilege to talk to you tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. I think the most important thing that we have to remember as athletes is we are always learning and growing, no matter what the circumstances, whether we're playing a tennis match, whether we're practicing, whether we're doing some school stuff. Everything is just about trying to bring out the best in ourselves. And I think we're very lucky with tennis and other sports because it teaches us that over time. We're always trying to reach that next goal and get to that next tournament and win that next match. So, I think try to remember, why you play the sport. We want to have lots of fun. We want to make a lot of friends. And we just want to bring out the best that's in us. And we all have big potentials. So why not try to fulfill them? And so I'm very honored to have spoken to you guys. And thank you so much for letting me do that. And Jeff for everything that you do. I'm so proud of you guys, and I hope to be able to meet you someday in person, and hopefully we can play some tennis, play some doubles, we'll have a blast.
That's great, and what good advice to end on. So Gabby, thanks for being so generous with your time with us this evening and answering everybody's questions. I know that everybody got a lot of insight, and special thank you to Anne from the WTA for saying yes to helping to put this together. WTA and Special Olympics are just great friends, and we love that partnership, and you're really helping us grow the sport of tennis in Special Olympics, so we certainly appreciate that. Special Olympics athletes, thank you so much for taking part tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. It was great to see all of our Maryland athletes here, but also our friends from other states who sometimes we only get to see once a year. Yes. It'll be January really soon, so we're looking forward to seeing everybody at the next tournament. And I hope that tennis seasons, even though some of them may have gotten canceled this spring, that we're back on court soon when we can safely do that. So thanks everybody. Gabby, again, thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks everybody. Thanks, Julian. Have a good one.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.